Hi dear students, this is our final lesson for the second term and today we're going to talk about preferences. At the end of this lesson you're going to be able to use some grammar patterns in order to talk about preferences, about the present or the future. But in order to talk about preferences, we're going to take into consideration this context. The 10 most dangerous jobs in the world. Here we can see people who are working, but they don't have any kind of job. They have the job that is considered one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. Here we can see a person in the ocean and what is he doing? Or what does he do? He is an underwater welder. Here we have a microchip manufacturer, steel workers, crab fishermen, prostitutes, boat riders, bus pilots, oil riggers, loggers, and snake milkers. If you have to choose, what kind of job would you prefer being? Let's think about that. From the previous list, here I have three choices. In case that you have to make a choice, what kind of person would you like to be? Let's read the first text. Loggers. Loggers cut down trees and load the logs onto trailers and railroad cars. They use axes or chainsaws to fell trees using knowledge of tree characteristics and cutting techniques to control direction of fall and minimize tree damage. You can see that this is not an easy job. And in case you have to select from these three jobs, what would you prefer being? Let's continue with the snake milker. A snake milker extracts venom from snakes, remove the venom from poisonous snakes so it can be used by hospitals and laboratories to make antivenom. An important job but very dangerous. The last one. To catch the crabs, fishermen use 700-point steel pots. They use nets, fishing rods, traps, or other equipment to catch and gather fish or other aquatic animals from rivers, lakes, or oceans for human consumption or other uses. Here you have three options. Taking into consideration the duties, the responsibilities these people have, what would you prefer being? If you're going to talk about preferences, we can use would prefer or would rather. They both express preferences, okay? Here we have a few examples. 1. I would rather stay at home than go out right now. Yo preferiría estar en casa que salir en este momento. I would prefer to watch TV rather than to do shopping. Yo preferiría ver televisión en vez de mejor que ir de compras. Tenemos dos ideas que expresan preferencia y estamos usando dos patrones gramaticales diferentes. ¿En qué difieren? Porque ambos tienen la misma función, expresar preferencia. En ese sentido, ¿qué notan de diferente? Si usamos el would rather, pueden ver que el verbo principal no tiene ningún cambio y tampoco lo acompaña ninguna palabra. Cuando utilizamos would rather, utilizamos el verbo en su forma natural. Y a la hora de comparar, de decir yo prefiero esto en vez de aquello, utilizamos la palabra than. Y el verbo que le sigue a continuación después de than no cambia, es su forma base. En el caso de prefer, tengo varias opciones. En este caso les estoy mostrando una, que es to watch. Estoy utilizando el verbo en infinitivo, pero este verbo base va acompañado de la palabra to. Debe ir esa palabra. Y en vez de utilizar el than solito a la hora de comparar, de decir que prefiero esto en vez de aquello, utilizo rather than. En este caso ven el to que está entre paréntesis porque es opcional. Yo puedo decir to do o simplemente to y en ambos casos sería correcto. Attention! Would rather. Would rather is followed by the base form of the verb. I'd rather stay at home tonight. I'd rather take a nap right now. Básicamente aquí pueden ver lo que acabo de explicar. El would rather va acompañado del verbo en su forma base, no tiene ningún aditivo y simplemente puedo decir preferiría esto y no necesariamente tengo que decir que preferiría esto en vez de aquello. Ustedes pueden ver aquí también que yo puedo hacer la contracción. Recuerden que la abreviatura de would es la apóstrofe y la D. En el caso de would prefer, yo les había dicho que tiene dos formas y en la anterior diapositiva solamente les mostré una. Aquí les voy a mostrar ambos usos. Could prefer is followed by a to infinitive or an ing form. Example, I prefer to watch, I prefer watching TV. I prefer to be, I prefer being alone. Ambos son correctos. Cuando yo utilizo el I prefer, debe ir acompañado de la palabra to más el verbo en su forma base. O puedo utilizar el verbo con ing. Cualquiera de las dos son correctas. Pero recuerden que si utilizan con rather, el verbo solamente tiene una forma, su forma natural. ¿Listo? Como les venía diciendo, yo el would lo puedo presentar de manera corta. Apóstrofe más la D. Than, rather than, instead of. This is in the case I want to establish a comparison about preferences. It's possible to make a simple sentence. I'd rather stay at home, I prefer to eat a light lunch. Lo que les decía anteriormente, yo simplemente puedo hablar de mi preferencia y no necesito compararlo con otra cosa. Yo preferiría estar en casa, yo preferiría comer un almuerzo liviano. Now let's see this, or a full sentence with two different clauses, using than, rather than, and instead of. Si yo voy a establecer una comparación dentro de las preferencias, puedo utilizar than, rather than, or instead of. ¿Pero en qué casos? Miren estos ejemplos. I'd rather stay at home than go out. Preferiría estar en casa que salir. I'd prefer to eat a light lunch rather than a burger. Preferiría comer un almuerzo liviano mejor que una hamburguesa. Y puedo utilizar el instead of en este caso, pero instead of tiene una particularidad. Si ustedes ven, of es una preposición. Siempre que yo tengo una preposición, el verbo que le sigue a continuación debe llevar la terminación ing. Example, I prefer riding a motorcycle instead of driving a car. Preferiría montar una motocicleta en vez de conducir un carro. Pueden ver que el driving tiene la terminación ing. Okay, let's combine these symbols. These symbols, all of them represent a sentence. So, what does the first one represent? I prefer to be a boat rider instead of an underwater welder. En este caso solamente estoy usando sustantivos. No necesariamente tengo que usar un verbo. Lo que les expliqué anteriormente es la forma como yo debo poner el verbo. Pero en este caso, yo simplemente estoy diciendo que preferiría ser a boat rider instead of an underwater welder. Estoy utilizando únicamente sustantivos. Let's think about the second example. I'd prefer to be an oil rigger instead of a bush pilot. I'd prefer to be a steel worker instead of a crab fisherman. Let's do this exercise. So we're going to complete these exercises and then you're going to match the sentence to the column that is in front of this. Vamos a completar primero las oraciones y después vamos a ver esa oración a qué hace referencia. Vamos a relacionar. Let's start with number 1. So you have I as a window cleaner. What do you have here? I'd rather work as a window cleaner. Let's continue. I should prefer catching crabs. Number 3. Jane would rather look after patients than milk snakes' venom. Number 4. Deb would rather have a calm job instead of an unusual one. Number 5. Oscar would prefer to be a bush pilot because it's very interesting. Number 6. I'd prefer being a boat rider instead of being a prostitute. Number 7. Carla would rather log in the woods than well under the ocean. Number 8. I'd rather ride a bull than suffering from cancer. Now, let's match those ideas to the ones you have in front of them. The first one. So you could see. Number 4. Deb would rather have a calm job instead of an unusual one. So it means that he'd prefer to work in a more common job. Let's continue with the second one. I'd never work on the streets. This is number 6. I prefer being a boat rider instead of being a prostitute. Let's continue with the next one. I prefer to clean windows for a living. So what does the sentence that must be matched to this one. Number 1, I'd rather work as a window cleaner. This one is number 5, he'd rather fly a helicopter. So this is, Oscar would prefer to be a bus pilot because it's very interesting. Let's continue. She'd prefer to work as a logger. So this is number 7. Carla would rather live in the woods than well under the ocean. Next one, she'd rather be a fisherman. This is number 2, she'd prefer catching crabs. Next one, she'd prefer being a doctor. This is number 3. Jen would rather look after patients than meet snakes venom. And the last one, I'd never work as a microchip manufacturer. This is number 8. I'd rather ride a bull I'd rather ride a bull than suffering from cancer. It's just a question to be concentrated. De pronto es mucha información la que ven acá, pero es una cuestión de analizar muy bien los patrones y enfocarse muy bien para saber cómo debo poner el verbo. Recordemos que con rather el verbo no cambia, con prefer tengo dos opciones, utilizar to o utilizar el verbo con terminación ing. Now we're going to see other expressions in order to express ability or express personal skills. In that case, we're going to use adjectives plus the preposition at. To be good at, or can, or have to be, okay? And some useful expressions you can use at the moment to have an interview, a job interview. So if you're going to express a direct thought on something, you can use honestly, I'll tell you this. If you're going to show honesty and transparency, you can say, to be honest, as a matter of fact. And talking about abilities. Recordemos que cuando hablamos de habilidades podemos usar el modal verb can, ¿sí? Can is affirmative and can't is negative. O la forma larga que sería cannot. Example, look, honestly, I can pay attention to people, but I cannot be awake for 24 hours. To be sincere, I can pay attention to people, but as a matter of fact, I can't be polite to some of them. Sencillamente estoy expresando habilidades, estoy expresando cosas que puedo hacer, estoy expresando cuestiones de mi personalidad, pero también estoy mezclando modal verbs con expresiones de manera que suene más fluido y más natural. My skills. What I am. What defines me. Common questions. Tell me about yourself. I am very sociable. I'm very calm. I have a good sense of responsibility. So I'm talking about my strengths. I'm not really friendly. I am not cautious. I lack of confidence. So here I'm talking about my weaknesses. So I lack of, so it means that I don't have the ability for something. There is a lack of opportunities. That is impersonal. And in order to talk about the skills and abilities, I can also use good at or bad at instead of can or can't. Podría utilizar estas expresiones en vez de utilizar el modal verb. Y también está bien dicho. Analyze those examples. I am good at playing video games. I am good in playing video games. Esta, la B, es incorrecta. Porque cuando voy a expresar que soy hábil o que tengo una fortaleza en algo, debo utilizar el sujeto, el verbo to be, el adjetivo, la preposición at y el verbo que sigue a continuación iría con ing. Yo les había dicho con instead of que se reconoce como una preposición. Siempre que tenga una preposición, el verbo que le sigue a continuación debe ir con ing. We do not use to be good in, we must use at, okay? Keep in mind that. Here we have some examples. I am good at playing video games. I am good at video games. Yo puedo utilizar esta expresión I am good at más el verbo o sencillamente puedo omitir el verbo y irme directamente con el sustantivo. I am good at video games. En ambos casos es correcto. Lo que tienen que tener presente es que cuando pongo el verbo después de at debe llevar la ing. En el caso de la A, yo enfatizo en la actividad, en el caso de la B, yo enfatizo en la habilidad. I am good at listening to people. I am good at listening. But also you can express something that you're not good at. So I am bad at. I am bad at cooking. I am bad at giving directions. And here we have a few questions that you may have when having an interview. What you can do? Yes, so what can you do? What you are good at? What are you good at? You can talk about your skills, your virtues, your characteristics. Some useful expressions you can consider in order to be more fluent and to be more spontaneous. Well, let me see. Well, let me think. To start, well, first, I feel that, I believe that. So when you're going to express opinions, when you're going to express honesty about your answers. Thank you very much for your attention. Remember that in Canvas you have a lot of resources. Remember this is our final lesson and don't forget that activities must be done no later than December the 9th. Recuerden las actividades que tenemos para este segundo corte. El plazo vence el 9 de diciembre a las 23:59. Si tienen alguna inquietud, no duden en contactarme y si requieren alguna tutoría de manera presencial, lo podemos agendar. Have a nice time and practice a lot. Goodbye.